am the life coach. Hi guys, it's Jim, life coach. So today we've got a special podcast. We've got my friend of many years, 20 plus years, called Daima. She's going to come and collaborate with us, contribute to the show every now and then when we call upon her superpowers to come in and give her opinions on things. So it's just me and her so far. Someone else might pop in, but we're not sure. But otherwise, we're going to chop it up together. So, Daima, want to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Daima. My background is in, I suppose, safeguarding. I was a foster carer for many years. All of my sort of working history is related to children, traumatized children and young people, child development, education, life skills, and development in that area.
And Daima gave me the speech of the century last week. I think it was last week or the week before. Like, if I ever wanted to go into like war, that was the speech to get me sacked up. I was ready to take on the world, man. Like, what is going on? So listen, I want to big you up, man, because you're an amazing person. So yeah, man. She's done so many different things. What's the most I won't say the most what's the most enjoyable job of all the things you've done so far? What's the most enjoyable thing you've done?
I don't know. I think I kind of lean more towards rewarding. I get enjoyment from that. So I think it's probably more categorized as rewarding. I think fostering was a huge one for me just because of the implementing and sharing of skills. And it's not sort of academic, it's more life skills. So I used to foster, do parent and child placements. So in terms of helping the parent to develop skills to raise baby well to a high standard, all of those types of things. So knowing that you're not just helping the parent, but you're also helping to improve the outcome for the future of the child as well. So I'd say that was the most rewarding. Difficult, but the most rewarding.
I'm not surprised. Cracky, man. Big stuff, man. Yeah, I'm just while you was talking, Kofi was trying to get in.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I was trying to get to log back on. So I didn't want to interrupt you. I didn't want to start you and be like, oh. So all right, here he comes.
Hey, good evening.
How you doing?
I'm good. You good? Hey D, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. Nice to meet you too. Sorry, let me just get myself sorted out. Hang on. We have a lady on the line, so let me get myself sorted.
Everybody changes up when they got a lady in there.
D, I wasn't expecting that, if I'm honest. Okay, I'm good. Wait.
I put it in the group. You put it in the group.
Let me freshen myself up a bit. Wait.
Rob, I'm going to shave, have a bath, shower, everything.
Wait.
You know he's going to tackle all these clothes there for that.
Where you people go? Wait.
I was going to say, FYI, we can see the reflection in your glasses.
I know, right? Let me take off Can you see me now? Wait, can you see me now? Right?
No, we can't see. Oh, Chief, take out the glasses.
Okay. But you know what? I take off my glasses here, but me can't see. So let me put the glasses back on. I can't see nothing. It's all good.
Oh my gosh, that gear change was hilarious. Okay.
Man, come like Superman, bro. Still know, Cole.
Clark Kent. Now, D, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I think Gavin been saying that, I think we're trying to get you on for a while, I think,
it was another young lady, but she kind of gave up on me. I was trying to get at least 2 ladies on, but she just gave up on me on literally on Sunday. So I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah. So you want to introduce yourself again, D, to Christian? Or Christian, actually, you want to introduce yourself to D and then.
So D, my name is Christian, aka Kofi, aka Kumasi Legacy. I've got many names, man. D. There's a lot of people after me, so just depend on who you're talking to, No, it's all good. It's all good. I said I've known Gavin for about, I don't know, maybe hello, what, 20 years now, 30 years maybe.
Well, 30 years, then, because college days, 16.
Yeah, college, yeah. Gavin and I went college together, so we did the old acting and music and dance and all that kind of stuff. Writing and directing and all that stuff. Yeah, and I think Gavin wanted to put this podcast on. I think he spoke to me about it. Yeah, I think I've joined about, I don't know, maybe about 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, maybe, something like that. But yeah, so we've known each other for a long time, and I think this is great to have this kind of forum where we can talk about real life issues, like proper issues, And I really appreciate these kind of shows, because I think when Gavin hosts it, we talk about, I guess, real life issues, but things that affect us as people, as Black people, right? And that's great to have a woman on board, so you can hear from, I guess, a woman's perspective, right? Because we can only talk about from a man's perspective, which makes sense for women, right? But it's also good to hear from a woman's perspective. So thanks for coming on, So it's good to have, and let's, as Kedim not here now, but normally he'll say, like, let's chop it up, So have a discussion.
Yeah, you'll hear that a lot. Chop it up. So, you know what I mean? D, you want to just quickly introduce yourself? Sorry, I know you missed it, Kof, because he was going really good as well.
It's okay.
Okay, so I'm Daima. I've known Gavin for about 20 years now, I think, roughly. My background...
20 plus.
20 plus, okay, I stand corrected. My background is kind of like safeguarding children, families, traumatized children, like that, education. I didn't say before, but important to mention, I'm pursuing counselling, education and counselling now. So that's the course I'm on right now. So psychology, all of that kind of stuff as well.
Okay. Okay. Good luck with that. That's very much needed, especially in this day and age, right? And I think sometimes I'm someone I'm a Black male who has gone to therapy, and I understand the importance to go in your life, depending on how great or how bad your life is. People often think, like, when you talk to you probably get it one day, but people say, I don't need therapy if it's okay with me. I think if you have that mentality, that's probably the thing. You probably do need therapy, because it's never quite. You should never go to therapy when you're rock bottom. That's never gonna work for you. I mean, that's good. It's gonna be too overwhelming. You go to therapy if you're having a fantastic day. Just go to therapy. You know what I mean? Because then you can be like, okay, I'm great. I want to stay at this level, right? Or the best place to go is when you're in the middle of a crossroad, like I was. You wake up more, you're thinking, like, what's the meaning of life? All that kind of philosophy kind of stuff, right? And then then someone can just have that kind of conversation and ask you this kind of question. Yeah. So well done to you for getting into that, because I think sometimes there's lots of our young youth who could do with someone ultimately who looks like them, right? So especially Black women and Black men, So yeah, it's hard for Black men for us to talk anyway. I mean, sometimes we say that, there's no counselors, no therapists around. There's lots of them around. We just don't know where to find them ultimately, right? So
yeah, I appreciate that, and I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's recurring, is that people say that they've been to therapy, but when they went, they didn't feel like that person really understood where they were coming from. Yeah. Really understood what they were talking about in terms of, culturally or behaviorally even sometimes. So it is, there are more Black people in those kind of spaces, and
it's quite interesting, because I'm the opposite, and I get the argument, or I get that statement when Black men say that, I want someone who looks like me, whatever. I get that, but I'm the opposite. My therapist is a Caucasian guy, and I quite like that. He's not about me, but what's good, because when someone does look like you, sometimes you feel like, I've been through that before, and but it's not about you, right? That's about me. Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't relate to me, which is great. So for me, that works really well. He won't know about being a Black man growing up in the 90s, in going through secondary schools in South London, in Brixton. He wouldn't know about not having a male, I guess, role model, male not in his life, in my life. So he won't know about that. So sometimes when you can talk to someone, they can just listen, right? And they can let you talk, and they can tell you a story. And I think that works really, really well. I think sometimes we often, we don't mean to, but as human beings, we do that a lot. You probably find that maybe people talk to you, but sometimes they may feel like someone said, I went through that as well, and they're kind of jumping on their story, right? And when it's like, it's not your story to jump on, if that makes sense, But at the same time, I understand why people say stuff like that. It's good to have people who can represent you in all different kind of, like counseling kind of world. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think sometimes I've also been to therapy as well, and that's also part of my course and development, that I have to be in therapy in order to give therapy.
Makes sense.
But my therapist was a white male, so there's a lot of difference between us, and it was helpful. And even in my learning and training, sometimes difference is helpful because it creates more room for curiosity, which is what I'm hearing you say, is that sometimes when there is too much similarity, people make assumptions, and that limits your ability to tell your story fully and have that full expression of your individualized experience, and your perspective, So I think therapy is very much, I'm sure you've heard this term before, it's just like a pair of shoes. You have to try one on and, keep trying until you find the right fit.
The right one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm not for everybody. My personality, and my approach is not for everybody. And that's the same for all of us. So I would encourage the listeners to keep going. If you find someone you don't have that connection with, don't be discouraged, keep trying. Try not to shut down. You have a goal. Keep your goal in mind. You want to feel better. You want more clarity if you're at a junction. You know what I mean? You want coping skills. Whatever your goal is to get from therapy, I would say keep going. Keep your goals in mind, and you will come across somebody who you can connect with.
Sure. And in regards to your demographics, what are you seeing mostly at the moment? Are you like, is there more women, Black, Caucasian men? What are you seeing? Younger, older, or varies? I guess it should vary, but
I'm not counselling as in giving therapy to clients at the moment. That will happen maybe sometime next year when I get to that stage of being able to do that. So at the moment, I'm having like skills practice with my fellow students, my cohort.
Sure. Okay.
We're kind of counselling each other, if that makes any sense, and reflecting.
Okay.
But
And
my
they rotate positions and stuff.
Sorry,
just saying you rotate positions and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yes. We reflect and give feedback and stuff like that. And so, but I just the level I just finished was all female, and I think there was 6 of us. 5 were Black females, and 1 was Asian female. So I think from my experience, the course before that as well was quite heavily weighted in female, a bit broader racial background and cultural background, but predominantly female. From my little experience and exposure so far. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Wow, man. Listen, just good that you're in the space, good that you're in the area, good that you're doing that. And I'm sure you inspire a lot of people. When I did my level 2 many years ago, in my class, I had majority female. I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 males in it, and maybe 4 or 5 Black people in it. Everyone else is kind of mixture, but then the area was like, Lambeth area, so everyone's quite mixed and whatever. But yeah, like I remember I spoke to you the other day about it's my class, and some of them were coming with some big things in the class, man. And you're like, I haven't really got that much to come and bring for you, just go to practice and whatever. You're looking up thinking. And I remember for myself, I just remember trying to bring something that would happen in my day and trying to bring it to it and trying to explain it. And everyone's looking at you like, and they really want you to kind of go deep, and I'm like, I would guess that's it. So, but again, it's just your experience, isn't it? You have to just give whatever experience you have, and then you analyze it and break it down, and you know what I mean. I think I used to like the feedback part. I didn't really like the part talking or whatever, or even just sitting there going, okay, and then reading it and saying back what they said. I love that, but that's the part I like. But talking about Talk about what I had to give. Nah, I didn't like sitting in the chair. I didn't like that person. When you do it, what do you like, D? Do you like being in the chair? Do you like being the person that administers the and you said so or are you the person that says the writes down the notes? What on you?
Sorry, you made me laugh because you said administer to the care as if it's medication. That I'm like. I like the whole entire process. If I'm being honest with you, I'm an extremely curious person, and I enjoy picking people's brains, seeing things from a different perspective, understanding people's life journey, the complexities of their emotions, and their processing. Like, you know, how the process of what they go through to decide what do I keep and what do I surrender, and what is behind that.
Which is very important.
The things that they give importance to, the things that they disregard as unimportant, and that will differ massively between individuals. So I just find that really interesting. And I also enjoy being challenged to articulate myself well, to think about the intricacies of my own thought process and the importance I place on things that then may trigger a reaction or an emotion in me. Why? And it was funny when you was talking and you was like, I don't like being the one in the seat. And I immediately went into like counseling mode and I was like, that's interesting, Gavin. Why don't you like being the one in the seat?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Guess what? We got the VIP coming on. We got Kyle coming in. All right. Okay. Yeah. No, it's true. No, for real though. I was thinking about now. I'm thinking, why didn't I like being in the seat? What was I actually trying to hide? Yeah, exactly.
That's quite interesting, D. So do you find, D, when people are having, I don't know, it might be natural for you, but do you find it different, or do you find it difficult to like not be like psychoanalyzing anybody you talk to? Because someone says to you,
yeah, for real.
Because if you say to someone, "How are you?" in person,
what do you mean by that?
Are you gonna take the answer, or you like it? But really, are you really fine? Like, you know.
Do you know what is funny? So for me, I kind of, I feel like I have, we could call it gifting, where you sense people's emotions and you sense things that are unspoken in the atmosphere. And so for me, I kind of sense my way through it. But also a part of that sensing is when a person doesn't really want to go there. Is the situation appropriate? You can't undress people without their say so. You definitely don't do that. So I might have the thought, it might occur to me, they're feeling uncomfortable. There's something here. There's an elephant in the room, but I wouldn't necessarily address it. So I'm sensing things all the time, but you have to use wisdom at all times to decipher whether you address it or you don't. And with counseling, you have to respect people's privacy and their autonomy, and you can't use your skills as weaponize your skills. You can't do things like that.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
What's up, Carl? The VIP is in the building. What's going on?
I'll tell you, VIP appearance, raw.
He only comes in every guy. You know, we got him for a minute. Let's keep him interested. How you doing, Carl? How you doing? What's going on?
I'm good, thank you. I'm all right. Sorry I'm late, guys. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. We got a new member. We got a new member, D. Go introduce yourself to D.
Oh yeah, I'm Kaya. See, I never know what to do with these introductions. What else?
Same.
What do you do? What's your background?
I'm a creative. I'm a designer. Yeah, that's my background. South London. What else? Yeah.
And you're the VIP. Cool. Wicked.
I don't know about that. I don't know why you keep calling me the VIP.
Nah, it's good. Cool. So no, D, do you want to introduce yourself one more time? Last time we got to do it. hopefully.
Okay. So I'm Dee Dimer. My background is in sort of safeguarding vulnerable children and families, education, that side of things. I'm now sort of moving into psychology and counseling and stuff like that. So that's the reduced version. Every time I say it, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but that's the snapshot.
Wow, quite a lot. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Right. Okay. So I posted something in the group. I think I did. I might send it to Bama. Post it in the group. But this is from social media. So it might be we're gonna start on this and we maybe get into a conversation just about other subjects related to this, maybe. If I can find something else that I was looking for earlier, that'd be great. So I'm gonna share my screen. Everybody out there, can you make sure you share, like, and subscribe and comment, please? And thank you for all the support. We're up to 133 subscribers. We're getting there. On the way to 150. Yeah, all organic. We didn't pay for anybody. All right, nice one. And thank you to you guys for being part of this as well, because we can't do this without all of you. So Kof, Carl, and Dee, thank you so much. All right, let's go. Let me play this thing here. All right.
So I heard that they banned edges in schools in Jamaica, and I think it's amazing. They need to ban everything over here, everything. The children are too nuff. They're just too nuff. You know, when you was younger, your mum used to say, I don't really like that little girl, you know, because she's too nuff. Now I'm sorry, everybody's child is too nuff. I'm in the classroom and I'm saying every minute, hello, can you put away the mirror, please? Excuse me, can you put away the mascara, please? Why have you done your lip gloss about 50 times? Your lips are about to drop off. Can you put it away? The next girl had a whole mirror, A4 size with lights around it and a stand. Go and put back your mother's things in her bathroom, because it's teeth. I know your teeth and your parents' things. One of the little girls had little lip gloss. Miss, do you like my lip gloss? It's Yves Saint Laurent. You lot are looking like you're ready for New York Fashion Week. There needs to be a ban on everything, because they're so interested in everything about their appearance. They are not studying their books. They're in the classroom and they're worried about the edges. They're worried about all these things. I need to understand what time in the morning you lot are waking up to put on this production. There's me, lip dry, bare things, and I'm just in the classroom like, hello.
Kof, what do you think about what we said in the video?
I think there probably is a major issue with, I guess, maybe kids or teenagers wanting to fit in, be part of society and stuff, and that can translate to, like, you know, not really focusing on the things that matter. I mean, I know from my daughter's school, she's 14, going on 26 sometimes, but that sometimes it's like even different hairstyles for school, whatever, you know, you can't have certain styles and, you know, certain colors and stuff. So so I think in that case, I understand what she is saying in regards to that, you know, because something does get a bit out of hand, you know what I mean? And I don't know about the edges and all that kind of style, all that too tough. But I think ultimately what she's saying is that sometimes parents, or sometimes the kid themselves, like, yeah, they just maybe focus on the wrong thing, man. Like, you know, just make sure your child get to school on time and they read the books about how their hair looking and how long it's looking and whatever. Do you know what I mean? So, but then I can also understand that kids want to feel nice about themselves and they want to fit in and they want to, like, you know, be confident in their appearance, well, girls and makeup and that kind of stuff, you know. But I think it's all about a balance.
Dima, you've got a daughter. Can you relate to any of this? Probably not in your household. I know you run it like clockwork kind of thing.
I do. I can relate to so I can relate, or I have my own experiences to offer, I guess. I think for me, I'm very big on character building, and I don't really place much value on fitting in. So my position would be, again, that psychology approach is what is this for? Addressing it with the child to find out, what is this for? What's behind this? Why is this necessary? Why do you have a 15-step, preparation to go to school? What is happening at school? Why this is, are we missing the point of, what's required of you in that setting? In regards to what the lady was saying and the topic in general, I'd be very interested to know what their academic results are, and if there's a direct correlation between this, and how it affects their attention and their attainment during class. Because my argument would be, okay, freedom of expression is great. I'm not trying to, suppress anybody's identity. And if you can manage to do both of those things, knock yourself out. I haven't got no argument. But if it is,
and it doesn't happen though.
Oh, sorry.
So it doesn't happen, then babe, to do both. It's one always does more than the other. Only a few.
I think it's possible for a person to do both, but I think you first have to identify what you're giving more priority to. So my thing is, if you want to go through a 10-step getting ready process, that's going to require you to wake up early. What are you prepared to give for it? So that's going to require for you to get up earlier, because my non-negotiables are your level of attainment in school, your punctuality, your attendance, and the agreements that we've come to in the home. If you can keep all of that up, you can have that. So, but as soon as these start slipping, there's no more makeup. I just chip away at them. The lip gloss is gone. The gel is gone. And I just keep on taking away till we're just, do you see what I mean? I think it's really important to make young people understand the decisions, make them pay attention to the decisions and choices that they're making, and for them to have a focus on what is the goal. What is your goal? What are you trying to get? What is the purpose of what's happening there? And make a connection to the purpose so that you can make better decisions.
So when the kid comes in and says, I just want to look good because everybody else is wearing this and like, how do you even fight that?
I can't get on board with that, because that concern is about everybody else. I'm concerned with you. Where's your confidence? Where is your integrity? Where is your thought process? How are you investing in yourself? I want to hear about you. If you say edges make you feel good, then we can discuss it on that level. But I don't want to hear about Tiffany and Susie, and I don't want to hear about that. There's no platform for the discussion on that level.
Diamond's not having it, boy. It'd be nice to be ahead of you, right? We went from listen. At two schools, right? So the Gambit, one school in Wandsworth. The main thing that they were doing at that time is like early 2000s, right? Or mid 2000s going on. The main thing they were doing was smoking cigarettes. Yeah, little bit of whatever, but all right, Carl. But a little bit of cigarettes, but a little bit eyelashes, a little bit of whatever, makeup, whatever. That's the most it was. All right, cool. When I worked closer to home, yeah, in Brixton town, the majority of the girls wanted to wear the big eyelashes, the big earrings. They had the fat eyebrows, like caterpillars. They had the makeup, and they had these handbags. No one knows where they got the handbags because they can't put none in it. There's no school books in these handbags, but they got these handbags. And these handbags ain't cheap handbags. They're like some special make that they used to have, and you have to have these handbags. And a lot of the considerations was towards this. Yeah, not all the kids, but some of the kids who were in the know. That was their most. That's what they had to have. And we used to battle it. They had to wear different hairstyles. We could only make them wear black extensions. They wanted to wear, like brown, black, brown, and all these other colors with the same black. They wanted to have like the big earrings. Like, no, it's not needed in school. You just need to wear studs. It was a battle every single day. Yeah. Edges are probably the least of the worries that we were having at that time. What were your least worry? Edges. So that's why I'm like, I wanted to talk about this because, you know, Jamaican secondary schools are banning students from wearing baby hairs, from having the extra bit of hair flick around or whatever. Like, what say you, Dama, on that? Banning the baby hairs. Do you think, yeah, cool, or do you think, nah?
I think the baby hairs is a representation of the same issue. Do you know what I'm saying? The baby hairs is just the updated thick eyebrows and the lashes, just the newest thing. I do think there needs to be restrictions when it comes to school. So I agree with that. But I also think that these principles need to be instilled at home, and then you on the education side of things would have less of a challenge. So yeah, I agree. If it's affecting your attendance and the time and your punctuality, what we're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cole, you never had to have any of this in your household. Then it was one of them ones where you were like, "Nah, you just never had it," or did you?
Say again. What's the question?
Did you ever have any of that in your household, or was it just like, well, nah, it's never really been a thing because your daughter's like 14. You got older daughters, all right?
Yeah, one's secondary school, one's in primary school. Yeah.
Right, okay.
I know. Well, I think I may be a little bit. It's a bit different for me because obviously they live with their mum. But I mean, like I think the only issue that from emails and just what my daughter said about especially hair. You know how they wear their hair and all that kind of stuff. You know, just that can be kind of an issue. You know. But I think you made a good point because sometimes if their children are worried too much about that, you know, and then they're not focused on school, then you know that's the real issue, isn't it? You know, so that's the real issue. Like, why are you so worried about your hairstyle? You know, I mean, you need to read your books. Forget your hair. I mean, you know, read the books. But I come back to again what I say. But I think sometimes just maybe how society is these days with looks and presentation and, you know, wanting to be seen. And I hear what these saying, like, you know, yeah, you're not looking at that, but sometimes the kids, that's what they look at, isn't it? You know, as parents, we're like, yeah, we'll go to school, read the books and all that, but as a parent or as a teenager, you know, you want to fit in. That's what you know. That's what you know, innit? That's what you know, literally. I remember being in school myself, like, for me, like, if you didn't have Nike, then if you didn't have Nikes on your feet, like, you get cussed, you know what I mean? I never had Nike, so
I never had Nike either. So boy,
but you know, so for us, for men, for guys, it's different, isn't it? Carl you might be able to know this more, but like for us, when we grew up in school, obviously, guys, because the time in my secondary school, we didn't have no uniform, right? So which is worse. If you haven't got a uniform, you have to wear your own clothes, isn't it? And if you haven't got like good trainers, you're gonna get cussed. You know what I mean? And you know, teenagers, you know how high school was tough. You know, high school was tough, man. That's when you learn life, isn't it? You know, so where we have trainers and jeans, what have you, girls have like this makeup and hair, what have you. So yeah, so I think it's just as society goes on, it's always going to be that kind of thing. It's always going to be that kind of how you look. You know, it's important for the teenagers this time, isn't it? What say you, Carl?
I'm listening to everything that's being said, and I think in order to really connect with this, I feel like you either need to be a teacher or a parent, and I'm neither. So the only way that I could connect with it is
from what you've seen, Carl. From what you've seen,
yeah, just from what I'm seeing and my observations of the young people, and when I was also a young person, I think it's important not to stifle young people's development in how they navigate through the world. And let's face it, makeup and looks and beauty is a big part of that, especially if you're a young lady. But we can't stifle their education, man. And I think that's what it's about. The fact that they're going to school and these are the things that they're worried about. I think I'd agree with what Didi was saying in terms of we need to figure out what's the reasoning behind it. Why are they doing this? What's what's making them place importance on this instead of having their nose in their books. I don't even know if they have books anymore. They just got iPads and stuff, right? No. But but yeah, that's what I would do. Why are we doing this? Why do we feel like, you know, it's gotten so bad that we need to ban edges of all things? Because I didn't even know edges was that big a deal. Because again, what Tristan was saying was about trainers, innit? Having fresh Air Forces and them kind of things and all of that. And if you didn't have them, then you're probably gonna get bullied or something like that. Is that what the new thing is? If you don't have edges, you get bullied? I don't know. Is that what it is now?
I don't know. I don't know. Because the goalpost seems to be moving every couple of years. Because personally, I'm the same as you. I didn't think edges was such a big deal. I was telling the story while you was off about us having to battle other things like nails and big earrings and colorful hair and makeup and big eyebrows and lashes and whatever. And edges, which just seemed like that's pretty simple. Well, to me anyway. But Jamaican schools are banning it in their classes. I don't know if that's just like a stylistic thing where they want them to look a certain way because everyone wants everybody to be the same. Because just like we have with the trainers, some kids can't always do the edges, and does that mean they're gonna get picked on and stuff, or you know what I mean?
Well, that being said, like as you're talking, I'm realizing because on my road there's always school kids going up and down at 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and their edges, whatever patterns they're doing, is a lot more elaborate than it was when I was at school. So I'm assuming maybe they're sitting in class with the comb and the gel, doing it in the middle of classes when they should be learning. Maybe that's why they're being banned. I haven't been in the front, so I don't know. So I'm assuming that might be the reason. Because yeah, it wasn't that elaborate when it was growing up, the edges and all of that stuff. So yeah, look, if they're banning it so that grades can go up and they're actually paying attention at school, then I kind of support it. And I've always been in support of school uniforms in general, because I don't think, and I understand the drawbacks behind it in terms of, some families can't afford school uniforms and how expensive they are and so on and so forth. But in terms of keeping things equal and equal playing field in schools, I actually support school uniforms, and I also support dress codes in terms of like how hairs should actually be in schools and what kind of hairstyles they should and shouldn't be allowed to do, because at the end of the day, kids are going to these places to be protected and educated, and I think that can come in various forms. So, if they're placing beauty standards or being able to do certain things higher than the education that they're going there to get, yeah, they need to safeguard that and make sure that these things are banned so that they're focusing on their books or their iPads or whatever they're using these days.
Mm. Do we think that when people get older, when they leave school, when they get older, do you think there needs to be it would have to be a standard thing at work? Or because right now everybody some places you can wear anything you want and nose rings and whatever. Do you think what's your thoughts on the thinking of when you're in a workplace and your own expression and what you wear and what you look like? Obviously it depends where you work and what you do, but what do you think about that? Do you think there should be a standard thing? Who wants to go first? Any one of you can go first.
I know I just spoke, but I'll jump in on this one. And the only reason I'll jump in is
because smiling straight away.
Because I work in a corporate environment and have done for quite a few years now. And the dress code is getting well, if I'm being honest, in terms of what's allowed, like especially during the summer, if it's shorts, if it's t-shirt and so on and so forth. And I can see when I have conversations with the older people who've been at these companies for like 20, 30 years and so on, they don't understand my generation, let alone the generation that's coming behind. So for me, it was a shirt. I don't wear a tie, and I think I'm unprofessional not wearing a tie, let alone what I'm seeing coming in from the younger generations. So overall, it just seems like a uniform that I guess you would have been trained to wear or have in school that is kind of bleeding over into professional work environments where people are just thinking that they can come in t-shirts and whatnot. And I've also seen it on social media people doing fit checks for interviews, and Gen Zs and Gen Alphas are like, why am I being rejected for the interview? And then showing the outfit that they came to the interview in. And then all I'm seeing is, yeah, I'm not surprised you didn't get the job. You came like you was going rape or you was going clubs, so I don't understand, and I guess all of that stuff can start in school in terms of you understanding what the idea of the dress code is. And in general, overall, I don't think people know how to dress for particular occasions anymore. No one knows how they're supposed to dress when they're going anywhere. I don't know. I'm assuming everyone on this call is like millennials, right?
Millennials. I know I'm old, not that much. What am I? You know, we're Gen X. Oh, well, I'm Gen X.
Gen X and millennials. Okay.
Me, Coffee,
No,
Gen X.
Carl, you know what? You made a really, really good point, I think, when you meant about uniforms, and I like how you've kind of linked it to even now, because everything starts from when you're younger, right? And we talk schools, we can talk about schools, because have a uniform is a fantastic. All schools have uniform. That's one, Yeah, and we could talk about how expensive that's context for another day. But in the fundamental, all schools have uniform, right? And you're right. Just put everybody on the same level field, right? And it should be. And for me, I think you put it should be black shoes. None of this white trainers and black trainers. Just black shoes. I'm not sure how kids are getting
hard toe shoes. None of this rubber business.
It needs to be shoes in general. It just needs to be shoes. You know what I mean? Yeah, but. Because there's none of this like people come there wearing loafers or all the kinds of that's a whole new thing, isn't it?
Wallabies.
And then when you take that, and then also with that, it's not them having uniform one thing, but then also how you wear uniform. Because you keep saying, Carl, you say how people are not properly dressed, right? How you wear something is important as well. Because you know how kids dress now, they got trousers halfway down the ankles and all that stuff. You got girls wearing like their skirts wearing, but it's so high. Like what I'm doing when long skirt. Wear tights and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm just being more presentable, if that's the right word, And then you talk about how they're going to wear uniform, and then they've got like the big hoop earring, which for me as a father, I feel like I just see danger in that, health and safety. Do you know what I mean? A big hoop earring for 13-14-year-old girls, And then you got guys who have gone to school, and they got your guy, you're 13-14 years old, you got your ears pierced. Like really? Like how the parents. A lot of boys get away with the pierced earring and whatever. Gee, I know you got nose ring, but you're a grown man, so you passed.
You see me nose ring? Never ever.
No, I saw you have one a long time ago.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Okay, dude. It might have been okay. It might have been a player ring or something.
I mean, back in the day, it used to look like Tupac, but I didn't have a nose ring.
No, but you know what I mean. But then so the way if that starts from secondary school, right, or primary school, secondary school, by the time they get to college, they know okay, I'm just a bit better. And we go, as Carl said, we go in the corporate world. You know how to dress appropriately. I mean, it shouldn't be a thing like, oh, it's out of the norm. It's just like you should not dress properly. You know what I mean? So I can stand that. Because sometimes, and that's a good point. That's the way you make about the dressing correctly for the interview, because you'll be surprised. But people can say the right things, man. But you're going there, you've got jeans on, and you got a shirt, and your shirt's over open, or your tie's not. You'll be surprised. Kind of think, your tie, you might have time, but it might not be straight. Do you know what I mean? It's just like those kind of stuff, like just like dress appropriately for the right occasion, I think, and then carry yourself properly, I think. But yeah.
Dama, what do you think?
I think it's really interesting. So I've got an argument for both sides. I suppose they meet in the middle at some point.
Come on.
I think it's really important for us to understand the world is changing. Yeah. And there are some things that need to move with it. We're now in the era of influencers and work, remote working and all of this kind of stuff. The workplace doesn't look the same. So it doesn't hold the same requirements. I think we have a lot of entrepreneurs. The creative industry is just out of this world at the moment. And those types of roles don't necessarily require the same level of formality that maybe we were raised with. So I do think there is some understanding to be given to the youngsters coming up. Yeah. However, what I do think is necessary, and I think it's necessary across the generations, across industries, and is just required in everything, is to understand what it is that you're trying to achieve. If you're going for a corporate job role, you need to understand, get into the mind of the employer. What are they looking for? How am I required to dress and present myself and speak? And what is the knowledge I need to bring forward? What skills are they looking for in this specific role so that we can be adaptable? And I think that's the thing I heard Kyle say about that adaptability. And I think that's a really, really important thing. It's something I really double down on with my children. And I'm talking the children I gave birth to and the children I work with. I kind of double down on that in the sense of it's not a blanket approach to everything. It really does depend on where are we going and what's required. So, for example, for my job, I work with college students in a football academy, and they're predominantly boys from 16 to 19. And so for me, my role isn't a teaching role, it's a supportive role. So for me, I spent a lot of time understanding what is required of me in this role and how can I be most effective. Now, if I come in with a shirt and a tie or a blouse and a pantsuit and, you know, like a bag that looks, you know, a crocodile skin bag or whatever you want to call it, I'm being very dramatic. How am I going to connect with these children? My job is very heavily based on connection and relationships and them feeling like I am approachable. There is no point me walking in looking like the teacher. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now you have two teachers in there and that's not my role. I'm kind of teaching you, they're teaching you the subject and I'm teaching you the stuff that gets you to love the subject, for it to make sense, to pull it down to your level and make it accessible. That's where I am. That's my role. So I think that it's really, really, really important to be adaptable and be dynamic in your thinking and your approach to whatever it is that you're doing in life, full stop. And to identify those two things: what is required of me, and you know what am I looking here, and what's required and what is my goals. And I think if you can sort of answer those two questions when you're approaching anything, it will all become a little bit more clear. And so I think that's what's missing. That's what's missing. I think the understanding that clothing can be a distraction. I'm a female working quite closely with young males. I have to think about what I'm putting onto my body and how that is going to be distracting or not in that environment specifically. I have to be aware of myself in the space that I'm occupying and the impact and influence I can have. And it's not a big-headed thing. It's a self-awareness thing. Does that make any sense? And I think that's true if we're going back to the school thing and the edges and all of that type of thing. I think Carl made a comment about agreeing with the schools for putting the restriction in place in the first place. And I agree. I think it's necessary because the restrictions are not in place at home. So they're like that's like the last barrier. If you're allowed to leave the house like that, then there has to be that final door, that gateway that you can't pass through in order to access what you're trying to access. Do you see what I mean? Weekends are a whole different thing, if you get what I mean. Social things is a whole different thing. So yeah, I would say I would say that's the baseline of what needs to be imparted on them is that, whilst holding the understanding that the world is changing and it doesn't look for them how it looked for us. And so in a lot of situations, they dress down, they don't dress up. We were brought up to dress up and dressing down was Watcliffe's, or, you know what I mean? It had its own little connotations to it or whatever, you know? But that's not the culture that they're in right now.
So how much does social media have a part to play in all this?
Huge.
Do you think it's really muddied the waters totally, or is it a thing where, because in social media everybody's famous? That's what I've been told. So so you got people who necessarily gone to the quintessential job role, but still getting some of the benefits of that, and the young people seeing that as well. Do you think social media then has a big part to play in it? Because we're going to get to social media now.
Absolutely massive. I think it's huge. I think that's unfortunately where they're getting a lot of their influence from. And it's kind of, I feel like it's jumped past the parents, because your phone is always closer to you than your physical parent is. It's kind of in between if we're talking about physical placement.
I've seen kids cry about their phones not being with them.
Yeah, I've experienced that, not from my own children, but in college. It's like, what on earth is happening here? It's almost an addiction. But yeah, it's the closest and most predominant influence to you or to a young person in a way that wasn't our reality. We had personal connections. Our parents were the biggest influence, or school or whatever, but and you don't have any control over, or very little control over, what they're viewing and how intense is that viewing. This whole concept of following people, it just makes me feel ill, to be honest, because I just think there's so many psychological
impact.
Yeah, but there's subliminals in that following. I don't know. There's every time someone you get in a minute by minute, reel of somebody else's life when you should be busy living your own. It's just wild for me. And you're so involved, you feel so close because you're just getting this unbridled access to a stranger. It's very bizarre. You probably don't even see the people you live with as often.
This person doing it for real.
Such intensity. Yeah.
Carl, you want to come in?
Yeah, you said a lot, and I don't think you said anything that I disagree with, to be honest. I think the social media thing, it's kind of dependent on which direction that we want to go with this, because there's so many things that can be spoken about. But the social media thing, I'd probably zero in on that part, which is, firstly, I don't think we as human beings were meant to have that much access to so many people. I think it's detrimental to us, and it's especially detrimental to young people in their development. Right? They're not supposed to be able to see what everybody else's life is like. And not only that, social media, I think the biggest issue with social media for me is that there's no age restrictions on social media. There's no filter in terms of what people can engage with. And I know everyone goes to the most extreme thing in terms of like pornography and things like that for young people, but even on a basic level, just the kind of topics that are being discussed that have adult themes about dating, love, sex, relationships. I see young people engaging with it and they have no idea what they're talking about. And then they'll go to school and have those kind of conversations with their peers about things that they have no idea about. And then even on the topic that we're discussing, which I guess we could broaden to fashion in general, the idea of what one would be doing with their baby hairs and so on. They've seen it on somebody else and they think that's what needs to be done. And then they've also assumed that they need to be camera ready at every turn. And the amount of pressure that probably puts on particularly young girls in public spaces and somewhere like school, which they should be safeguarded from those kind of things. They shouldn't feel that they need to be camera ready at all times. They should just be focused on education. But social media is just giving rise to everybody trying to live everybody else's life and being exposed to things that are probably too advanced for their level of maturity. I'm not sure if I articulated that correctly, but I put a lot of things there.
No, it's fine.
Perfectly, Carl. Actually, and it's funny about you mentioned the social media. I mean, and it's funny when you say the like how much people can just follow you and we start following, then they start commenting, and and you might take that. And one sense, everything's about followers, right? You get followers, right? You think, oh wow, like 50,000 people see my video or whatever. which I'll talk about that in a minute. With 50,000 people seeing my video, you feel like, right, I've made it, right? And then people start commenting, you know what I mean? I say that because I have my
It's probably for a negative reason.
I have
Oh, sorry.
yeah. I had my girls for the weekend, so I had them, and I do this thing where, you know, I just like, oh, hashtag at dads for the weekend, whatever, you know, we just do fun things, you know. I just, you know, I put TikTok, you know, and one of my videos reached 60,000, 50,000 views, 50,000 views. I know, right? I know. I was like, raw. I was like, so happy. It's like, raw, 50,000. But then my daughter asked me to take the video off, and I was like, raw, okay. And this is you might be in this situation being a parent, but sometimes there's time when you have to be a parent, right? And say that, oh, well, you don't, because she said basically, oh, okay, take off, because a lot of people are watching it and they're following me and I don't want it, and then people are commenting like, you know, don't like it, whatever. So as a parent, I can say, why about all people think? You know what I mean? You know, but then sometimes I go think about her feelings in it. She wasn't happy, you know what I mean? So the fact that she said to me that, oh, they take off, I said, yeah, cool. And I'm not that same, and I think I've got it so like, I think it's public, so anyone can see whatever. Yeah, when I need to make it private, which I've done now. So yeah, I think I'll just put it up because sometimes it's
You're lucky. Most kids would be like, listen, Dad, that's so amazing. Come on, let's do some more.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. So one part, like I said, the lot of votes is good, but I think then when people can start, because people, and they not tag you in it. Don't tag you in tagging her in it. So tag you like, you know, why did that? I think it's not like, why did that rap? But obviously, it's a joke. I ain't a rapper. This is something I'm doing with my girls. I think it's quite cool, isn't it? Like, it's like basically rap battles kind of thing, you know. And I think sometimes
It's good, really funny.
And it comes back because she's saying that, oh, her friends are watching her about that, like they're big, like kind of making fun of her, whatever. And I thought, like, I probably said, no, yeah, but then they're not really your friends, innit? But that's not. By that moment, that's not. I don't need to say that at that moment. At the moment, like, okay, you know, let me take it off and then let me take the heat off a little bit. That makes sense, yeah. So it's interesting how the social media can hopefully it can be for you, it can be against you, it can go against different ways. You know what I mean? And, you know, just like that. So that's perfect. That's perfect. Interesting one. So social media. That's the kids, yeah.
So I'm gonna share a video with you guys. A video that I found. Watched it today or yesterday. I'm gonna play it. If you got an opinion, tell me to pause and you can do your opinion. Yeah. We're not gonna watch the whole of it, but if you see anything that you feel that you wanna think you can do. Oh, by the way, before we do that, let's do this. I'm gonna show you this image. This image went viral about a month ago. We're talking about dressing in the workplace, right? So I will show you the image. And if you've seen this is a teacher who works in a I think it's like a primary kind of secondary school kind of thing in America. And she got killed with this outfit. Basically, what she does on TikTok, she basically dresses in those kind of outfits on TikTok. I think she's on Instagram, but she's on TikTok. And she'd been doing this, but I think before she became a teacher, so she's just basically been wearing stuff. So people have denigrated her, saying how dare she wear that stuff in front of young people, and it's not professional, the rest of it. The video itself just repeats and repeats, but I'll play it anyway, so there's no swearing or anything, so it should be all right. Hold on. Where am I at? That one there. Okay.
My baddie, teacher, bae, neighbor. Miss Williams. Cause she's so pretty. My baddie.
Yeah. Thoughts? Is it inappropriate? She can wear what she wants to wear. What do you think?
Appropriate.
It's inappropriate, man.
Yeah.
It's inappropriate.
Why is it inappropriate, fam?
Okay, so for me,
Go on, Diamond. Sorry.
I think it's inappropriate because it's distracting. And I would sorry, say again.
I was gonna say distracting for you.
I would
Staff,
say
students.
I would predominantly say males, whether staff or students. What's that face for? Now, she can wear what she wants to wear. Obviously, we have freedoms. However, I think the level of self-awareness is shocking for me. Because what is it that you're looking for? So for me, I'm just always interested in is what is going on beneath that choice. What was the process that led to that being the final decision? And are you reflecting on how you were received and the feedback that you got, and now what is your thought process as a result of that? And for me is to examine, are you looking for attention? Do you want to be found attractive? If those are anywhere in your motivations, anywhere, which is a hard thing to admit sometimes, yeah, that we're seeking attention. I think that needs to be examined. Why are you seeking attention in this environment? This is a workplace. There are youngsters around. You are kind of somewhat what Carl said, you're exposing, I would say, young male brains. I know that's more so what I would be concerned about. To, I don't know, I feel like you're sowing seeds, you're pouring water on small thoughts that will then spring oak trees. And then if you're defiled or approached or a sly comment is made, now you feel offended. But where did it start? And we have to take responsibility for how we're presenting ourselves and the decisions that we're making. You are not of their age group. You are an adult. So if let's play devil's advocate, you're attracted to another staff member and that's actually the person that you're seeking attention to. That was actually quite limited. You want to attract the attention of another adult in the workspace because it might not be a male. Let's just be honest.
All right.
So, okay, the other person that you're seeking to I don't know, attention of is also an adult. But you also have to take stock of who else is in the environment. Do you see what I mean? And what is your role? And again, the purpose and all of these kind of questions. So I just think it's inappropriate. And for me, it's a little bit concerning about the mentality and the thought process and the development and the self-awareness that's happening beneath that, which means if we kind of don't address that, it's going to be same level of decision making, different day, different topic. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I get your point. I think, although I'm a little bit the other way, I think it's not that deep. I think I wouldn't say it's inappropriate. I think that if anything, I think maybe shoes got probably not inappropriate, but I don't know. I think that's a little bit. I think it can be perceived as a little bit too deep because first and foremost, is that when she got an interview for the job, what does she wear before she got a job, right? Unless there's something that's been done recently. But if she's done all the time and it's been done all the time, it shouldn't really be a massive issue. I think I take on board that fact. I think because it's been filmed and that's gone viral, people say, "Oh, people sometimes people make some." I think sometimes people just start making a lot of noise about something when it's not really that main concern. So let's say all the kids whoever she ever taught have got good grades or done really well for education. Would it matter? You know what I mean? If they come out of school and they're not learning, they're getting bad grades, then you can say, oh, maybe it's distraction. But if the kids are going there and then they're learning like they're supposed to, you know what I mean, and they're getting good grades, then surely it's not what's she wearing. It's not really have a big factor. I think we need to we're looking at her because what's she wearing. How is this affecting the kids ultimately, right? I can say that I understand you saying it's inappropriate. I think it's like I don't think it's that.
All right, Kofi. All right, Kofi. So your son, yeah, I'm not. I don't know your son's name. I'm gonna give him a name, right? Your son Bernard, comes home, right?
Yeah.
And he says, Miss Williams, man, she's sexy, boy. Whoa, she's wearing this dress. Her bottom was. Blah, 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 blah. I couldn't even concentrate on my lesson. Blah, blah, blah. What would you say? You'd be like, oh, that's good, great. Let me go and visit her. What would you say? Wouldn't you be
I would-
alarmed? Like, you know, he's not focusing on what he needs
Yeah,
to.
no, like I said, I think it's ultimately about how are the kids learning? What are they learning? Are they doing their grades well? Are they getting good grades? And I mean, you know, you're gonna have teenage boys, 13, 14, 15, 16, who are gonna get attracted to women, right? No matter what they're wearing, right? You know, so let's not blame that. See when they're gonna get attracted to it. No, I mean, that might not necessarily happen, right? If that they come to me, hopefully I have a conversation with, like, you know, say, look, you know, just don't, you know, that's a parent and that's an adult, you know, your child, that's not going to happen. Don't be thinking that way, you know what I mean? But if my son did come and say to me, that's good, we can have a conversation like that, you know what I mean? I'd be more right if they didn't say anything to me than want to be. But like I said, I think it's not as deep as what happens more in school for me personally. Yeah, I wouldn't really be concerned about that. If the school are getting fantastic grades, the kids come with fantastic grades, that's a good thing. Is it not? I don't know. That's what I've got to say, really.
Carl, have you spoken on it already? Okay, go on. What do you think? What do you think about?
Nah,
What do you think about Kofi just said, fam? Because that's like I didn't expect that from Kofi. So I went, rah. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna. I didn't expect that either.
Exactly.
I didn't expect that either. Look,
He's trolling. I think he's trolling us.
I'm wondering, if that is what he's doing. I want to preference everything I'm saying with the fact that I always want to be careful when it comes to policing women's bodies, especially Black women's bodies, for various reasons, especially historical context, as to, you know, telling because Black women get policed more than any other type of woman on this planet in terms of what their bodies look like, how they can display it, and what they can do with it, etc. But this is inappropriate. It's inappropriate, and the reason it's inappropriate is because to your point, Kofi, about them going to school, they're not. You said if they're getting good grades, does it matter? And the fact of the matter is, it does matter, because even if they're getting good grades or not, the bottom line is you don't just go to school. Young people don't just go to school for education. They go there for development as young people, as human beings. And a big part of that development is their sexual experiences, how they navigate through the world, how they interact with the opposite sex, how they interact with the same sex, etc. And them not being able to see their teachers as an authority figure or a sexual object is going to have big implications for them and their development as young children, as young adults. You know, if my child is coming home telling me that Miss such and such is sexy and I want to do things to her, that's a red flag to me. That's not, because, you know, me being able to see that person as the teacher as an authority or a figure that I should look up to or aspire to be like, or who is able to teach me, that dynamic now is off if I'm busy looking at the shape of her body, or young people are busy looking at the shape of her body. I think to Dee's point about young boys being distracted, I don't think it's just the young boys. I think it's the young girls as well, because even in their development, they're going to see the boys giving the teacher all this attention that they probably want and think that this is what they need to do as well. And I also think that whenever these kind of subject matters come up, I think we're being quite polite in how we rationalize it, because I think of it in terms of a spectrum. I did mention it earlier, in terms of the level of lack of self-awareness, I think you said, and you know, yeah. So at the bottom end of the spectrum, it's lack of self-awareness. But I'd talk about the high end of the spectrum, which is, I'd actually say it's quite predatory. And the reason I say that is because as an adult, you know what you're doing. I refuse to believe that you don't know what you're doing when you're coming to school dressed like that, and the kids are calling you a baddie. your peers as an adult would call you a baddie. I'd call her a baddie.
Some
I
women
wouldn't
argue
call
though
her
that they
that,
can't
but-
hide their bodies, that their body's their body, they can't hide it.
Which is why probably what I said at the beginning with I want to be careful with policing women's bodies. I do. But that's not what that was. That example there, that's not what that was. That was a pencil skirt and a blouse with
It's
how
showing
long
off.
weave
It's showing off.
with yeah, come on. That's different. She could have gone, she could come out like that. And she was wearing heels, right?
Mm.
Open toe heel. Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
Like, why
yeah.
are we wearing heels to work to school? I don't understand. So that's what it was for me. That's the whole thing is inappropriate. I have seen examples of kindergarten scans, like I'm American, primary school teachers wearing something, and someone's pulled them up and said, "Oh, you know, that's inappropriate." And in those cases, sometimes it is going too far. I'd probably side with Kofi, but in that scenario you just gave there, that's inappropriate, man. And I remember seeing that. I don't know what the rumors are, or how much of it is rumors and how much of it is true. But I heard that she might have been an exotic dancer prior to going to getting her qualifications to be a school teacher. That one in particular, that example you gave. So yeah, that it's just inappropriate. I don't think that's not how she should be going to school. And I'd actually wonder where's the principal in that scenario. Why is she not being pulled up? You know, there's so many implications to the young kids that she's supposed to be in charge of and helping develop as young adults. That just the impact on that is just too negative for me to say that's okay. It's not okay. That's what I would say.
Mm.
Can I add something?
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna extend what Carl was saying. Learning does not happen in a vacuum. There is a social aspect of things happening, and there's lots of conversations that are happening outside of the subject matter, the academic aspect of things. And like I said, for me, I have a son. I have a 15-year-old son that's going to school. And so for me, that would be highly concerning that you are... Okay, let me go backwards, even to come forwards. As a female, it is really hard to be... I don't know how to explain it. To be in an environment that is predominantly male, young boys, and hold their respect. I'm quite short. I'm like 5'2". That in terms of like the height that they are, the stature that they are, they're growing into their strength. There's all these other developmental things that are happening with them within the workspace. It's not separated. There's when I say, I don't want to say gang mentality, but pack mentality happening as well. You have a confrontation with one, everyone jumps in. It's very, very hard for me in that space to establish respect and to maintain it. And the second I lose it, everything comes crumbling down. And I feel like the scale is already quite, the weight is kind of stacked against me in the first place because of the environment that I'm in and all of those types of things. So looking at this situation and what Kyle was saying, I think that's a really, really important point. That it is really, really important how young boys see members of authority, especially in their learning environment. And especially at the time, and I'll be really interested to hear what you guys have to say, because obviously you have the internal processing memory of your development and what's happening for you at the same time. But what I'm observing, there are other factors at play. Masculinity coming into the fore, and aggression and alpha and all these other stuff happening. The worst thing I could possibly do in that environment is sexualize myself in their eyes. Now, I'm a female. I'm a Black female. I have a figure. Let's say I don't have a ironing board for a back. In that regards. So you're right. I can't hide my body per se. I'm shaped the way I'm shaped, but I don't need to lean into my silhouette. And that's what I saw happening there. Like, you are leaning all the way in. Now, I wonder if is it Kofi would have the same opinion if she walked in with Batty Riders, because the principle is still the same. If they're getting the grades, what's the problem? What if she wore the shorts? You know, the shorts that cut halfway across the bum. So the
man said he don't care, fam. Make her come in bikini. Man said he don't care.
No, that's not. That's not what I said. But I think that we might need to we might need to look at respect, because I think you're both saying that, oh, you know, you need to come respect. But then I think maybe we need to unlearn. So maybe some people need to unlearn something, because I think someone you can respect someone not necessarily because of just of how they dress. And I hear what you're saying. You know, you talk about, you know, the word that, I think the word that you both use is inappropriate, right? Then we're looking in the sense of, like, you know, how she has dressed, right? But I think there's a way that a person can carry themselves, right? It's not necessarily about how they dress, right? You know, over now someone can be dressed up. A woman can wear a black suit, right? But she can act in a provocative way, right? So this woman can wear that skirt very provocative way, but she's not acting that way. You know? And if someone is looking at that, then that's that person looking at that. Just that I take the argument that, okay, maybe if she's wearing that, then, you know, she may get people to be maybe, you know, say kind of crude words, or, you know, have those kind of feelings about that. But then that's more in the sense of, like, how that person is looking at her. That makes sense, you know. I don't know. I think I'm just on the notion of that. You know, I think so
you think it's more incumbent on the person who's looking at her?
Oh yeah, 100%. Just because a woman dressed the same way doesn't mean a man has to go and touch her up and be, you know, that's it. You know what I mean? You know, of course, she should dress. Of course.
Man,
sorry,
I'm sorry. We're talking about kids, you know.
Thank you. Yeah. We're talking about children, underdeveloped brains. They don't hold those two things in their mind at the same time. They don't hold the same value.
Yeah, the idea of a kid thinking, yeah, you can't control his impulses. He's gonna, you know, you remember what it was like. Puberty. You can control. I know how to control myself. That was the way that I can now as a grown man.
Yeah. I do. I get it. I do get it. I just feel like I don't know. I think sometimes I think sometimes it might be we can really point the finger to someone and say, oh, don't do that, because this gonna drive that on. This gonna make these people be like that, and you're gonna make them be like this. I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm just trying to. I don't know. I'm thinking from the viewpoint of maybe that it's not as bad as it could be, but maybe it is. I don't know. That's just my view. That's just
but I understand what you're saying. The dress, what she's wearing could have been worse. Yeah, it could have been. I've worked with some ladies in schools, right? When summertime come, boy, they just lose their minds. I'm not gonna lie, like white and black. I've seen them lose their minds. I've seen them wear see-through tops where their bras all showing through the thing. I've seen them wear tops where the top bit is hangs down, so when they bend over, you can see what their cleavage and also. I've seen the lot. I've seen the lot over my time, and I'm not even trying to look. I'm looking on the floor, so I'm not saying what these kids are seeing when they're in the classroom. These teachers around. You know what I mean? So I'm just sharing with you the alternatives what the lady could have worn. Yeah, this is a UK website that I just rocked up and just saw just now. Yeah, lots of alternatives. Yeah, all right. There's plenty of alternatives. Look, she could have wore this. Look, you know what I mean? She could have wore that. You know, show a little the ankles and whatever.
No, but to these points, I mean, the woman who was the example that was being given, she'd probably fill out these examples here, right? So she'd probably end up in the same scenario. I'm sure there are things you could wear that are more appropriate.
I've seen some arguments with some ladies who have like bodies that just pow pow pow, and they have argued that they can't hide their curves, like they can't hide their breasts, hide their bum, like wherever they wear their bum's gonna go chung, and
But
do you know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. Look, I hope this doesn't make me sound a particular way, but I've observed quite a few women and their fashion. All right, I'm a heterosexual man. Of course, I've seen the way women dress and so on and so forth. There's a difference between I can't hide these curves no matter what I wear, and I'm wearing some things that accentuate these curves. That to me was you're accentuating your curves. Do you know what I mean? It's not like she was wearing I can't even think of the name of type of clothing, but there were some examples that you gave there. Like I said, she could wear some of those and still her curves would show. But that would be a way more appropriate than what she was wearing in that video. She was wearing a high top skirt with come on, and heels. What are we doing? What are we doing? You know, there's young boys at the school, man. That to me I would say that's predatory. What she's doing there is she knows that she's going to get attention. I think some teachers have it in their head that there's a way to relate to kids in order to garner their respect or be able to manage the classroom. And some of them do it in an incorrect way.
Yeah,
and I think that might be what she might think she's trying to do in terms of, having a personal relationship with them, in that they're calling her teacher baddie or whatever. And I don't think she's realized that that's inappropriate. There was always, what it was like when you was at school. There was the cool teachers and the way that they used to talk to you and so on and so forth. There was, the way that they learned your slang and they knew how to throw it back to you, or, there's ways that they would relate. And as a result, you probably behave yourself in their class, and they probably had good records in terms of how their classes were performing. So I don't want to get in the way of the way that teachers relate to their kids and students, but there's particular ways that you're doing it that's going to come in a way that's inappropriate. And I think that's what she thinks she's doing there. She thinks if she's got lashes like the students and hair like or she can teach them, and she looks a particular way that the girls want to aspire to and the boys want to look at, then she might be able to control the class the better way. That's the only innocent way that I can look at this. But it's inappropriate. Either way, it's not the way she should be relating to her students.
I'm really interested in why you described it as predatory.
Mm-hmm.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Specifically, the use of that word.
The reason I use that word in particular is because I think often the focus on predatory behavior gets focused on males, and there's nothing wrong with that, because there are a lot of men that behave inappropriately with students in general, young boys and young girls, especially young girls. But I think what gets overlooked a lot of the time is that women are very capable of it too. Mm-hmm. And I think in that particular scenario, to say that young lady is not aware of the type of attention that she could garner from young boys, I think would be, I don't think that would be accurate. I think she knows what she's doing. And like I said, at best, she's just, to what you said, she lacks self-awareness, or at worst, she knows what she's doing, and she knows the impact and effect that she's having on young students who are going through puberty. But let's not forget, we're talking about young kids are in key development phases of their life. Mm-hmm. And she's coming to work dressed like that, knowing that they are going to look at her a particular way. I mean, it's an unfortunate. Like I said, I don't want to police women's bodies, and that's not what I'm here to do. That's not how I run. But the idea is that when we walk through society as a woman, you have to be aware of the kind of attention that you attract. It's just an unfortunate state of affairs. It's just how it is. Like you said it yourself, you're not an ironing board, is what you said. And as a result, there's a particular way that you have to conduct yourself, and that starts with the way that you address when you are around young students. And anything intentional behind that, or any intentional actions you did to attract a particular type of attention, not you, anybody or any woman would do that, to me is predatory. That's not appropriate, and you know what you're doing.
Predatory in the terms of being alluring. What
Alluring,
aspect of alluring?
Yeah,
Okay.
alluring. Whether you think you're using it for good reasons or not, the bottom line is you're trying to use sexual attributes to gain attention from adolescent boys. That's not appropriate. That's not
We
right.
assume that's what she's doing.
Yeah, we're having a discussion. I don't know the woman. I haven't spoken to her.
Yeah,
but
we just I see what you're saying, because the viral thing of it was the fact that people are assuming that she wants doing it for attention. She's whatever.
Yeah.
What if
But the reason I would
her
say that is
argument?
because she
Her
could come
argument
out
may
on a
just
date with
be,
me like that.
but her argument may just mean that she's going on a date with you she wants. But
No.
her argument, no, I'm joking. But her argument may just be, I just feel comfortable in this. I feel comfortable. It doesn't stop me from teaching. The students aren't complaining. And no one else is complaining. I wear this every day. So it's been an issue. It's only because it got posted on the internet why it's been an issue. What?
What's your thoughts, dude?
She said she's pretty. If you listen to the video, that's what the student said. Yeah, she thinks she's pretty.
Yeah, no.
And she turned around and she posed. That's co-signing on the statement that's been given. So there is a motive there. Let's not overlook that. There is a motive. So for me, I definitely think it is with a degree of confidence. Obviously, I can't be certain. I don't know her. But with a degree of confidence, I think even at a subconscious level, you want attention. Even if it's not, abundantly apparent to her, it's not in her conscious mind, it's not part of her intentional drivers. On a subconscious level, I believe attention and confirmation of her beauty is what she's seeking, and her level of attractiveness. Now, does she want to sleep with the students? That's a whole nother ball game. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about conscious or subconscious. There is a driver there to be found attractive or to gain confirmation of the beauty I feel like I hold. Absolutely, I think that's a factor.
I just want to put on record.
What's your view? Yeah.
My view is, first of all, I think she looks amazing in what she's wearing. Just saying that.
Yes.
But I think it's inappropriate for school, because when something drops on the floor and she tries to bend over to pick it up, she's gonna have to tell she can't do it because the skirt's too tight, and she's gonna have to get Johnny to pick it up for her, because that's just gonna be all over the place. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna turn around, write something on the board. Kids are gonna be like, boys and girls. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like that, and it's just it's not inappropriate personally. But then I worked in a school. Sorry to cut you, Carl. I'll let you come in. I worked in a school where there were ladies there that were wearing high heels and clunking up and down the corridor, making bare noise in the corridor, and were wearing not as tight but tight stuff. They were like the sort of performative suits, women's suits that you see that I showed you earlier, but with the high heels, clackety clack 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 down the corridor. Don't ask me how they got upstairs. No one knows. But it's just, like, so I personally think it's inappropriate. I just think that it's we do that stuff on the Friday evenings and the weekends and stuff. But there are people who will say that she just feels comfortable. She just naturally feels. Whoa.
That outfit isn't comfortable. Those shoes aren't comfortable. Let me put that in the room. That's not comfortable. I can put my life on. Those heels are not about comfort. Full stop. No argument.
Maybe she wears it when she come in. Hi, kids. Hi, takes them off and puts her trainers on.
And then why? Now we don't have to ask why. What's the psychology behind that? Why would you put them on and take them off? What's happening here?
Because she fit one in her. But so basically what it is the social media has bleeded into the school life now, isn't it? Social media is bleeding into school life. Yeah. There's the follow me, all that kind of stuff to get the viral whatever or whatever it is it's bled into schools, right? So I'm gonna play this video, right? This is just this vid is about why everyone is quitting social media. And you'll be happy to know, guys, that I've now got YouTube Premium, so there's no ads. Just what I just put out there because people were telling me, get YouTube Premium. Kadeem, wherever you are. Okay, cool. Let me what was I gonna press? I was gonna press record. I don't know what I was doing that for. Here we go. Let me know if you can see it, guys. Can you see it? I'm gonna put it on full screen this time. So, like I said before, I'm gonna play it. It's a 60-minute video. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but if there's anything that you agree with, you wanna talk about or whatever, then we'll to start when I stop it.
Over the past 5 years, social media.
Oh wait, sorry, I've got to play it at different speed because algorithms and ting and whatever. Bear with me, sorry. Come on, that's it. Put that one. There we go.
Has gone through one of the most dramatic transformations since it began. The platforms that Over the past 5 years, social media has gone through one of the most dramatic transformations since it began. The platforms that once promised connection, community, and a voice for everyone have devolved into something much more harmful. Viral stunts, immature pranks, choreographed dances, also heightened levels of anxiety, depression, and the disruption of the very fabric of society. I want to explore why social media has gotten so much worse recently, and the quiet but growing rebellion against it that has the very architects of the system on edge. This video is sponsored by Headspace. More about them later. So I think we can learn a lot about the problems with social media today by looking at how Instagram promotes its own app. If you go to the login page, it says, sign up to see photos and videos from your friends. What a load of shit. Anyone that uses Instagram knows this just isn't true, and is far from the content machine it's become. But it does give us a clue into the challenges this company and every social media platform is facing today, and why the distance is growing between what people want and what they're getting. Jack Conte, the co-founder and CEO of Patreon, has spent years thinking about the economics of the internet and has seen from the front lines just how drastically social media has changed since it was first introduced. Jack, thank you so much for being here. Question number one, what the happened to Instagram?
Oh man, I love that question. Okay. Here's what happened. Web 2 sort of emerged in like 2005. Web 2 companies were like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. The amazing thing about Web 2 was you could like subscribe to a creator. You could follow them, and then you would see the rest of their work as it came to you in the future. This was a new thing. Before Web 2, the internet was mostly read-only. Like you log in via AOL or something, and you like can just like read the news. But the amazing thing about Web 2 was, for the first time, like people could upload, they could share, they could like broadcast their ideas, and the most profound piece of internet architecture came out of that time. Was this thing called the follow.
As Jack explained it, the follow gave you the power. You decided who you liked, who you wanted to hear from, and who you wanted to fill your feed. It felt like your corner of the internet, a personalized space built around real connections and genuine interests.
I only subscribe to people and watch videos that make me happy, inspire me, make me feel positive, uplift me.
But that version of social media didn't last. The idealistic vision was great for users, but not for investors. Once these platforms went public, they faced a new challenge. How do you turn connection into profit? We all know what happened next. Social platforms started to run ads, and ads made them a lot of money. So they scaled the model. Grow larger, show more ads. Get more users, show more ads. Hold users' attention for longer, show more ads. Get more data on who your customer is, their hopes, fears, and dreams. Sell more expensive ads.
The customer of Facebook is the advertiser. And what the advertiser wants from consumers is attention. And what Facebook has built is a machine that converts attention into revenue. That is the Facebook machine. Everything about the financial system is set up to hold Facebook accountable for revenue growth. What that does is it aims the entire financial system, hundreds of years of financial infrastructure, it aims that entire system of accountability and discipline at sucking attention away from humanity. That's the problem. That is the problem.
You say these things like they are my fault, and yet they are not.
Well, you did create a platform with a monetary incentive for people to spread misinformation.
Bo Burnham recently summed it up well. Tech companies aren't satisfied with just a piece of your time. They want it all.
They are now trying to colonize every minute of your life. That is what these people are trying to do. Every single free moment you have is a moment you could be looking at your phone and they could be gathering information to target ads at you. That's what's happening.
When the biggest tech companies in the world are competing for your attention, they'll design features that exploit every human vulnerability they can find. Even the smallest change can have a really big impact, like infinite scroll. No, not a never-ending pastry, something much more nefarious. Before this feature existed, websites had pages, natural breaks that let you decide whether to keep going or to stop. In 2006, interface designer Asa Raskin came up with an idea to replace those breaks with a never-ending feed. What seemed like a small improvement quickly became one of the most influential changes in how we use the internet today. Without a stopping point and an endless stream of content, this simple feature can quietly steal hundreds of hours from your life every year. Asa himself says he regrets creating it.
I was blind to how it was going to get picked up and used not for people, but against people. And this was actually a huge lesson for me, that me sitting here optimizing an interface for one individual is sort of like, that was morally good. But being blind to how it was going to be used globally was sort of globally amoral at best, or maybe even a little immoral.
In a world where apps rise and fall overnight, the social media giants have learned to move fast or risk becoming the next MySpace. When a feature works on one platform, it doesn't stay there for long. It's copied, repackaged, and rolled out everywhere. We've seen this happen with pretty much every fast-growing app, from Snapchat to BeReal, and, of course,
TikTok. TikTok explodes in popularity. It's surging in popularity here in the U.S.
15-year-old Charlie D'Amelio's new favorite pastime is making up dance moves for the social media app TikTok.
This group of 20 talented content creators is part of a growing trend of young social media stars snapping up big real estate so they can physically be together to make videos 24/7.
We're definitely like the two most hated. Definitely
the most cringiest.
Like they're literally called Blueberry because their hair is blue.
Yeah.
And then I'm orange. So like, oh my God, the orange and the blueberry.
What has happened over the last 5 years is really profound. TikTok came onto the scene, and TikTok's major innovation, I think people think, oh, TikTok is vertical first short form video. But that's not TikTok's major innovation. I think that's a red herring. What TikTok did that was truly different and innovative was TikTok said, oh, you know these concepts of feeds that people are using where you have your followers and you scroll through a feed and you see people you follow? TikTok said, forget about following. We're going to rebuild your feed from scratch based on who we think you're going to like. Not who you've chosen to follow, but what the platform thinks you will spend time on. And we're going to optimize it for time spent.
While TikTok didn't invent the algorithmic feed, they did crack the code on virality. For years, your feed was shaped by who you chose to follow. TikTok removed that control entirely, replacing it with a feed that didn't care about your social graph. Instead, every scroll was another data point, teaching the algorithm exactly what you would keep watching.
The most successful video I have right now is like at 68 million views right now.
I'm sorry, 68 million views?
Yeah, it's just me like turning into like a monster.
Now, if it had just been TikTok that did that, we all would have just left TikTok and that would have been the end of the story. But the thing is, it worked. And by it worked, I mean TikTok built a very addictive consumer experience that people couldn't tear themselves out of. And so traffic sort of siphoned off of Instagram and Facebook and all the other social apps and onto TikTok. And all the other social apps saw this and felt pressure to get traffic back. And the way that they did that was by also ditching the follow in their systems and by building For You feeds.
TikTok might say that its For You feed democratized the internet. Suddenly, anyone could reach millions, regardless of their follower count. And simultaneously, viewers could discover creators they'd never heard of. On the surface, it looks like a win-win. But in reality, this change had far worse consequences. In Johan Hari's best-selling book, Stolen Focus, he documents exactly what went wrong when these platforms rolled out these kinds of feeds.
The algorithm is neutral about the question of whether it wants you to be calm or angry. That's not its concern. It only cares about one thing. Will you keep scrolling? Unfortunately, there's a quirk of human behavior. On average, we will stare at something negative and outrageous for a lot longer than we will stare at something positive and calm.
Go like this. No, Mom, I'm actually seriously crying. No, I know, but go like this for the video.
Social media has turned into a model that serves the platforms more than the creators or the audience. And as a result, people are starting to turn against it, and they don't have any plans to come back. So for me, when it comes to incorporating technology into my life, it's not about getting off the grid and living in a cave. It's about finding balance. I want technology to add value to my life, to help me find purpose, meaning, get clarity, and help quiet those late night thoughts about the rise of fascism, the collapse of the global economy.
Okay, so what do we think? So what do we think of this? Especially the ending part, like the ending part where everyone's starting to switch off of it now, or starting to, because they're not getting there. It's not being happy for them anymore. What do we think? Is it true? Is it not true?
I left social media about two years ago for various reasons, mainly because I just didn't like what it was doing to my mental health. So yeah, I say that I'm off social media, but I still get sent things. That's why I kind of knew about the school teacher thing that we were just talking about a moment ago. So yeah, even with me not being on social media per se, I still plugged into it and I see things that's happening. And yeah, everything that they've just said, I agree with, because it's part of my job to know what's going on in terms of the way that social media has shifted to it being from a tool for you to connect with people that you know and get to know them or keep up with their daily lives, to your data being funneled back to you. So you forget these apps are learning about you. They're finding out about you. They're making a profile about you and sending things back to you to keep your attention as much as possible. And then that's keeping you from actually interacting with people who you're actually with. Dee, you mentioned it earlier in terms of school kids spending more time interacting with people that they've never met than the people that's in their own room. You know, I'm glad that I grew up without social media. I grew up at the time where social media was invented, and I know what it's for, and I know what it can be used for, but not enough that it grabbed my attention so much that I didn't play outside. And that's what we're seeing at the moment.
With the lucky ones, isn't it? With the lucky ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these living your life as a young person, constantly looking at the next trend or trying to keep up with the next trend and how quickly it changes, I don't think can be healthy for them. I remember when we had trends when we were growing up, but they lasted an entire school year.
Yeah.
Before they went out of fashion. And even then they probably come back at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember there was an entire school year where it was all about having an Avirex jacket or something like that. You know what I mean?
Jeez, you were good enough to get them. All right then.
I did.
A big man to get that, boy.
I remember I asked my mum for one, and I'm sure I got grounded for it, for even asking if I could have one. But yeah, even in the first video you showed about them banning edges, these young girls have got YSL lip balm now. So it's not just ruining their social skills and their ability to interact with people, it's also making them making them a safe to consumerism way earlier than it should be, in terms of them feeling like they got, I guess the phrase is keep up with the Joneses and keep up with the latest trend. It's ruining people in general, especially young people.
I can imagine there's brain development, because there's some parents that I've seen, they throw their kids in front of like the tablet, and though it's not social media that they're on, it's in front of the tablet. They're used to just going like this. They're not working for anything. It's just instant for them. So I can imagine the brain development for these young people. Dama, what did you think of the video so far anyway?
Similarly for me, I agree. I'm not incredibly fond of social media, though I do partake. But for me, it's very controlled. It's very considered, I feel. I have noticed that my sleep is impacted if I've spent too long. If I've had a day where I've been interacting with it too much or too close to bedtime, I've seen it affect my engagement within my home and like with my kids and stuff like that. So, and I don't think my social media usage is substantial in any way, shape, or form. But I think, again, just awareness where you've had enough day and you realize that one or two things have slipped by you, you know what I mean? And you didn't pick it up. And for me, I would have picked it up. So, or, I've had a full night's sleep, but I've woken up the next day and I just feel tired. What was you doing before you went to bed? Oh, I was doom scrolling or whatever you want to call it. So, I think for me, I do try to consider my usage because I understand the business model and the psychology of what's happening behind that. Specifically with TikTok, I can't stand it. If you go in there and people love to send me things that from TikTok specifically, and it's not a platform I really engage with very much. But when you're trying to exit it, you have to press back like 10 times. And every time you press back, it's showing you another. No, I just want to leave. Like, release me from the goal, you know, kind of thing. So I think for me, in those
and the algorithm is nasty as well. The algorithm is nasty.
Yeah.
You might watch one video of a puppy, and next thing you know, you got then all your feed is just puppies. You're like, where did this come from? I don't want to see
for
one
me,
video.
I notice those things and I associate them to the money-making machine and understand what is happening and what their intention of the effect that they're supposed to have on me, and I resist it because I don't want to be sucked in. Do you see what I mean? But I also work in education with young people, and I can see it's absolutely destroying their mental health. Just obliterating any chance for a sense of internal peace and equilibrium. Their nervous system is completely fried. They're anxious as a baseline. Their baseline is anxiety. And it's so normalized that they don't realize that they're anxious. Jittery. You're answering a question off the board, but you've put your phone down and picked it up 10 times. Nothing's changed on your screen. No, there's not a notification. There's nothing. But it's just an action that you're used to do. It's like smoking. Do you see what I mean? It's got to the point where it's just automatic, and I can see it having such a heartbreaking effect on the next generation. I also think there's implications of young people having access to an obscene amount of money before they have the development and the intellect, the wisdom to know what to do.
What it means to have that money.
What it means. And there's, when I say there's no work ethic, it's no, there is energy being put into gaining this money, but I don't know if we could call it work. I don't know. It feels very culty to me. Like, I would class myself as somewhat of an outsider, or at least on the perimeter.
With the periphery,
yeah. So, it feels. For me, observing the people that are very, very much engrossed in it, the movement feels almost symbiotic. Like you log into a network and we have a shared understanding and a shared processing, and sometimes I struggle to see the individual thinking for themselves.
Hive mentality. It's more of a hive mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my position.
I'm with you, Kof.
Yeah. Just
you was thinking a lot.
I just agree. Just to go back to the quickly from the teacher with the inappropriate dress. And I think from definitely hearing both your points, Carl and D, I think I understand where you're coming from, and I take it on board. You know, there's some things in there that that makes a lot of sense. You know, and I knew that already. I think maybe I was just battling for the black female teacher. Do you know what I mean? But I can understand that. You know, that was probably inappropriate. That's what I'll say. I mean, I'm not saying I've come to your side exactly, but I'm more so. You know, if that makes sense. Anyway, but in regards to this one, I think that when it comes to social media, I think people are far more in control than they give them credit for. That's what I say. It's about self-control. I went out. I left my mobile phone at home. I did. I cared about my day. So I mean, I think sometimes, like, there is this algorithms where, and I like the word you did. It's a bit it's a bit cult. There's a bit like cultness. There's been some kind of subliminal messages that keep putting in. I don't know, but I just feel like these kids, they can just put the phone down. As teachers, teachers, you can often put the phone away, take the phone away. I mean, it's like social media. It can be. It is a social drug, isn't it? And it's that wanting to be seen and wanting to see what's next and what's happening. And Carl alluded to it before, but back in the day when we used to go outside. Do you remember back in the day we used to go outside and play outside and be outside for like 10 hours, like just to be outside? Do you know what I mean? Like kids don't even go out nowadays.
Today they call it touch grass.
Back in the day when
you go outside and touch grass.
back in the day when you used to do that game called Knock Knock Ginger. You know, Knock Knock Ginger, hit the door and run. those days, man. Like, kids don't have fun nowadays. Now they're on their phone texting each other.
Listen. I did a summer program this summer, right?
Yeah.
And you'd think that these kids would know how to play. They don't know how to play. There's no taking turns. There's no, if you lose, you're crying. There's no, listen, and the way they, listen, don't even get me started on the way they play rounders. I'm just saying, yeah. In rounders, they got some rules that it's offensive, yeah, that if somebody, you know, when we played rounders, right, everybody's playing, everyone's going back and the whole team goes through, right? In their one, if someone catches the ball, right, then the whole team is out and they switch around. Like, you know, like how they did it before where you had to be one-handed catch? You remember that? It'd be one-handed catch. If you catch the ball, 2 hands, everyone's out. I was like, what? How does that even work? They're not allowed to, if whoever catches the ball, right? No one can't run. You can't move. And then before you can steal bases. I'm just sorry. It's clearly,
It sounds like you hit the ball and someone caught it and your whole team was out. You go through trauma. You may go and see D. You need some counseling. What's going on, man?
I think it's Joe. I need to D. I'm coming on your house here. I know you live. I've been there in years, but I come over there.
No, but you know, I think in regards to the social media, I think, you know, there is a lot of stuff about them. Lot of stuff that you watch and
they've lost though because
they just you know you made a good point about the kids when, you know, the mum just give them that iPad and tablet, you know, when they're doing hair whatever, and the kids they know what they're doing, where to go and whatever, you know.
I've seen babies like they must be less than a year old, literally, like
yeah.
They know how to do it already.
Yeah.
At 4 to the tapping the thing. I'm like, I just even know how to do it so quick. And the attention span is smaller now because of it. So, you know, like that's the reason why we have 1 minute shorts on YouTube or whatever, because attention span is like, they say people aren't going to watch, people are saying people, plural, are not going to watch more than 1 minute. Plural. Which means they trained the planet to not have long attention spans. So watching a film, it must be just hardcore for these kids because they can't get through a whole film without them or taking out their phone and brighten up the whole cinema. Damn, are you coming in?
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say it's about sales. You got to remember it's a business at the end of the day. So they're trying to advertise something to you, whatever it is, and they need to capture your attention and gain your commitment to follow the process, whether you're going to follow a link or blah, 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 blah. So it's not really about it is about your attention spans per se, but they're not training your attention span. They're trying to capture it within a window for you to take a specific action, which then they monetize.
Yeah, man. And it seems to be very effective with young people. Kof, did I cut you off? Sorry. Was you going to say something?
No, not at all. Like I said, I think I said what I was going to say, but yeah, I agree what D and Carl said about that, because I think it's, I will come down to that. I think everything in life, no matter how hard as it is, everything comes down to self-control. Everything comes down to what you decide to do. Yes, I can hear about that. Yeah, it's all for sales and they pour all these fancy colors and they do everything to keep you in, but you can put the phone down. You can unsubscribe. You can. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. I understand, but you can do that. You know. So I think sometimes we put a lot of stuff on all these companies, but we're the ones who. So we are not part of that part, but I think a lot of people are. They allow it to happen because they keep feeding into it. You know what I mean? Just log off. Don't look at it no more. You know. But yeah, maybe that's the hard part to do, isn't it? You know, if you're not addict, it's hard to stop something, right? So.
I think that I hear what you're saying in terms of the self-control and just putting it down. But I think perhaps we just need a bit more focus on just how much energy and effort goes into keeping people addicted to these things. And even before we get to social media in general, your devices, how much effort goes into just keeping those devices in your hand and how difficult it is for people to put them down before we even get into the applications that's on those devices. You know, you were talking about attention span earlier. The reason I said that, I kind of know about a lot of this stuff is because as a creative, as a designer, and who works in marketing, I have to make a lot of decisions around people's attention spans and how quickly we can get their attention and keep it and get engagement so that these things go viral or reach the attention of the people we want them to reach. And a lot of the decision making, and I'm not at the level of running an entire app, but the decisions I make at the area that I'm in are literally geared towards how can I stop you from looking at anything else except the thing that I've asked these people to post. How can I get you to translate? How can I get whoever's looked at this post to translate that into a click through to our website, which then turn that prospect into an actual client for the company that I work for. And like I'm saying, I'm at the lower end of trying to gain people's attention. I can only imagine what it's like at the higher end when you're actually running the app and trying to keep people in the app in itself. So yeah, the level of addiction that these people and young people in particular would have for these social media, I don't. It's not a joke, man. It's just a big thing. And the only other thing that I was going to say, I agreed with everything you said, but there was one thing that you said about. I think you mentioned about hive mind or people having the same thought process or thinking. I think you said about that. I'd actually disagree with that. I think what social media has done, and I know I keep making it about young people, is actually stifled their ability to engage in critical thinking. And the reason I say that is because social media and the way that the algorithms are set up keeps you in contact with people who think exactly the same way as you do. So then when you actually get into the wild world and you find somebody who disagrees with your opinion, they're miffed. They don't know what to do. They're like, how could you think this way? And I don't know we're all of age on the call. I don't know if you've actually seen a young person come across somebody who doesn't agree with them and how they actually deal with that. They have no idea how to even navigate that. And I think social media is a big part of that because it keeps them in echo chambers with people who think like them, unaware that there are people who disagree with their thought process. And all of those skills are things that you should be learning whilst you're growing up. And then when you get into the workplace, it probably informs the issue that we were talking about earlier about, dress code. The idea that you could be told there's a particular way. Sorry?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, like told that, no, this isn't appropriate.
This isn't appropriate.
How are you going to deal with the situation?
Right. And in their head, it's like, what do you mean this isn't appropriate? Everybody I speak to wears this. And it's like, yeah, but that's not, that you just know the people that you've been sectioned and cornered off to speak to, your echo chamber, whereas there's a big wide world out there. And, I don't think people know what the common opinion is versus their own opinion. And that's a big problem. That's a big problem for them.
And even the government struggles with that. They think that all of us are all about supporting certain causes, and we're like, hell no, we're not in this whole thing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, even on if we want to go in that direction, we can talk about how social media is being used as a tool to, I don't want to oversimplify it with control, but
siphon you in a certain direction.
Sorry?
Siphon you in a certain direction.
Yeah, I'd say misdirection. Because even at the moment with what we're happening abroad in the UK now, with the kind of subject matters that should be being discussed in order for us to actually sort out, the standard of living at the moment, they've just misdirected it to be about immigrants and the little boats that are coming over and the asylum seekers in hotels, when in actual fact, those things are not really impacting how high your gas prices or your electric bills, or the fact that you need to wait 3 weeks to get a GP appointment, or you have to wait 7 hours when you go to A&E, but the government is using social media in a particular way to run a narrative that distracts you from being able to talk. So there's just so many different things that social media is just doing to kind of just erode at society and our ability to interact with each other. Yeah, and that's why I came up with it. That's why I just came up.
I hear you, man. Totally, man. Totally. Right. The last thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna read this article. It's a bit of a kind of fun one-ish, depending on how you see it. It's the last thing. Let me share it so you can read it with me as I'm reading it. This is the last bit. Here we go. You see that okay? Yeah, everyone good? All right. Okay, this one's entitled Children Hacking Their Own Schools for Fun. It's an extension of social media and all the other technology advance, right? Watchdog warns. All right. The Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, has issued a warning about what it calls the worrying trend of students hacking their own school and college IT systems for fun or as part of theirs. It has told head teachers that they are failing to understand and recognize what it calls the insider threat pupils pose. It says more the majority of so-called insider cyber attacks and data breaches in education settings, meaning that they have been carried out by someone with access to internal systems, originate with students. What starts out as a dare or a challenge, a bit of fun in a school setting, can ultimately lead to children taking part in damaging attacks on organizations or critical infrastructure, said Heather Toomey, principal of cyber specialist at ICO. It comes amid a spate of high-profile cyber attacks affecting firms including M&S, Jaguar Land Rover, and which teen hackers have been implicated. Since 2022, the ICO has investigated 215 hacks and breaches originating from inside education settings and says 57% were carried out by children. Other breaches are thought to come from staff, third-party IT suppliers, and other organizations with access. According to the new data, almost a third of the breaches involve students illegally logging into staff computer systems by guessing passwords or stealing details from teachers. In one incident, a 7-year-old was involved in the data breach and subsequently referred to the National Crime Agency's Cyber Choices program to help them understand the seriousness of their actions. The ICO did not give details on the nature of that breach. In another incident, 3 year 11 students aged 15 and 16 unlawfully accessed school databases containing the personal information of more than 1,400 students. The pupils use hacking tools downloaded from the internet to break passwords and security protocols. When questioned, they said they were interested in cybersecurity and wanted to test their skills and knowledge. Another example that ICO gave is of a student illegally logging into their college's databases with teachers' details to change or delete personal information belonging to more than 9,000 staff, students, and applicants. The system stored personal information such as name and home address, school records, health data, safeguarding, and pastoral logs and emergency contacts. Schools are facing an increasing number of cyber attacks, with 44% of schools reporting an attack or breach in the last year, according to the government's most recent cyber security breaches survey. Youth cyber crime culture is a growing threat linked to English-speaking teen gangs. Young or teenage alleged hackers have been arrested in the UK and in the US in the last year for hacking campaigns against major companies including MGM Grand Casinos, TfL, Marks & Spencer, and Co-op. What say you guys? These kids, they're not learning, they're just hacking. What say you, man? What's that? Well, 11-year-old, come on. A 7-year-old was hacking a whole big company. What's going on? What's happening?
I'm impressed, if anything.
I'm impressed, yeah. Well done, Jimmy. Well done. You done a good thing. Yeah.
I said, I'm not parent, but that's one of those.
Yeah, because they said one of the child was 7 years old, isn't it? 7, you know, like rotted. Okay.
I was gonna say I'm not a parent, but it's one of the dilemma that you must go through when your child does something. And I don't even know if I'm supposed to punish you for this because that's actually pretty impressive. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you off or hone this skill into something that you can use.
Man, get a big Christmas present, boy. Birthday present, boy. Give me your Mason. Oh, you get another tablet for that. Oh. Go on, Dima, sorry.
No, I said I think it'd be a little bit of both. I think we'd have to talk through the logistics of that situation. We can't do that, but we can do this, you know? And also, well done.
What if he says you learned it from TikTok, fam? Then
I don't think the skill is punishable. There is learning, there's knowledge, there's superior knowledge for your age and stage of development, shockingly so. And I'm not gonna lie, I would be like, let's find a place to channel this. I think you would get enough punishment from the government. So I don't think I would address it with punishment. And yeah, that's
does it matter who they hack, for instance?
I think the repercussions, it would matter who they hacked. And that's a separate way to deal with it. But I can't ignore genius if I see it. If I'm the cheerleader for my child, you got to remember everything has a there's like I'm going to talk about the first two layers of communication. There's the message you want to send, and then there's a subliminal message that happens kind of indirectly. Now, if I'm going to punish you, what I'm saying is everything about what you did is wrong, and that isn't true. Do you see what I'm saying? So for me, it's kind of about being accurate and being very specific about what part wasn't a good idea and what part is absolutely amazing. And we need to look for a direction, Timmy. Come on. You know? That was a lot of private information, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you won't be mad that they've leaked, or we say leaked, but hacked private information and stuff like that. You won't be mad about that? Or you just be like,
I'm not sure mad is the right word. That's what I'm saying. I would have a reaction. I would have to address that there's wrongdoing in what you did. I would address it. But I don't know if I would be angry and we would be talking along the lines of punishment. We may have to hold the repercussions of what you did, because we have to be upstanding. We have to operate with integrity. My opinion, we have to operate with integrity. So as a result of the choice that you made, there may be repercussions. We would have to hold that, you know, that's just the way it goes. However, for me as a parent, I'm now looking for, you've expressed genius to me. So now what are we, beyond the punishment, because we're going to exist, no one's going to kill us, we're not dying. So there's going to be life beyond the punishment, right? What are we doing next? This is genius. We need to channel this, you know?
Yeah. So I was asking before, that does it matter where they hack? So if they hacked a charity that was doing good work, would you be the same way? Would you just be like, there's still genius there, son? You just don't hack charities?
I still think there's genius. I wouldn't be encouraging my child to hack anyone. Sorry, let me just be clear about that. Not under.
Carl said he would. He's like, yeah, well done, son. Yeah, new BMW for you, mate. You know what I'm saying?
Child's future child already has a, you know, we already know where that's going. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, so obviously there is big companies pay people to hack their systems in order to develop and further their security, right? So there are legalized ways to channel that genius. So that's what I mean. I wouldn't be encouraging my child to continue to hack in a legal manner, but you're showing a level of intelligence that exceeds your development. So, you know,
especially at 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Kof. What do you think?
No. I think what Dee said, that's perfectly accurate and makes sense. You know, it's one of those ones where, as a parent, publicly, oh, that's so bad. Why'd you do that? But privately, wow, no, seriously, like, how did you do that though? How did you do that? No, seriously, how did you do that? You know what I mean? And yeah, like I said, no parent's gonna like, you know, said, oh yeah, like want to be a hacker or whatever. But you know, like I said, you make a very good point, because sometimes there've been times before when you know, people have hacked in the system and then they've got a job out of it. Do you know what I mean? They got a job with the government for that. Do you know what I mean? You know, so sometimes like there's certain things where someone just get that kind of talent to like be able to hack a system. You know what I mean? So you know, and sometimes those kind of things it can be for the good, isn't it? So you know, it's just, I thought the bad thing about it is someone that's hacked, you know, and they get information and they're selling it on the internet, and then you know, when it goes bad, that's when it can be really bad, isn't it? But you know.
So, Dama, so what if they said they learned it from Miss Williams with a tight skirt? What happens?
I don't know if I can say that on the podcast, so remain silent, which is my legal right.
Just buying everything into a little more. How, you want to say anything more? Or you're right on that? You're done on that one. Guess you just
not even that I'm done. I think
you're getting bonus, extra food, everything. Do you want to have a spoon, son? You want to have a spoon?
No. I definitely, I agree with what he was saying. I definitely try to channel it in a constructive way and let them know the errors or the way that they chose to channel it originally. But yeah, you gotta encourage genius when you see it in kids. But like I said, I'm saying all of this. No, I'm not a parent yet, so these are the things I would like to think that I would do, and I kind of defer to the parents on the call in terms of how they would handle this sort of thing.
Look at him. See, great answer. Even though he's trying not to answer it. See, he can't even help it. Can't help it. I agree with what Kofi said. Blatantly, what I would do, yeah, I'd blatantly be like, yo, man, at the school, I'm like, yo, that was the worst thing ever. That was terrible. Why did you do that? That's it. No food for you for a whole week. Bang, that's it. No internet or nothing when they come home, bro. You saying this? Well done. I'm telling you, that's how I would be the same. I'll be the same as I would champion it. I'm not gonna lie. That was just like amazing. And I'd say, being me, I'd say, let's find a company that we don't like. Let's smash them up. It'll be just me get arrested and that's the rest of my life. But but listen, guys, I want to say thank you so much for your opinions. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Yeah, listen, guys, it's a great podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Please share, like, and subscribe. Guys, anything you want to say before we go? Oh, Dee, it was your first time. You want to say anything? Come Dee.
No, it's been interesting getting everyone's perspective, and I really have enjoyed it and enjoyed meeting you all. Yeah.
It's another great show. Thank you very much. It's great to have I think a lady's perspective, actually. Yeah, just get that different, angle on things, yeah, I think it's always great when people disagree or not disagree, but have a different viewpoint. I think that's that's
about learning. It's about learning.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes like there's no right or wrong. It's just sometimes there is right or wrong. Sometimes it's just your perspective is different. That's what, and I like that. That's what it's about. And it makes you think, okay, I can see your point of view, but maybe someone may see your point of view from what, although they don't agree with it, but they might point to be like, oh, I quite like that. You know what I mean? So that's always good. Yeah, and it's good to have the Mr. Corporate man, Carl, on the line with us. So it's good, So
cool. Yeah, Carl, you want to say anything before you go?
Sorry, my headphones were doing a madness.
Yeah.
Not really, man. Just echo what's been said already about differences of opinions and being able to hear other people's perspective. Kind of learned a few things on the school here now. So, Emma, thank you for the invite. Appreciate it. When I can join, I will.
Bruv, just come on more, innit? Jeez, this guy, MVP fam, this guy. Dama, listen, you did really, really well for your first one. Can we give her a round of applause, please, people? Give her a round of applause. Come on. She's very well. Very well. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So for those of you who don't know, we've also got the poetry section that we do every other Wednesday. Also, there's going to be another podcast that I'm going to be working with some other people on this channel at the same way. So you're going to get like lots of different things going on. It's popping all over the place. So it's just going crazy. But that's how we're going to keep going. We'll just keep going and stuff. So listen, guys, thank you so much. Say bye.
Bye, viewers. Thank you.
And then got silent bias and got bias with no mic, so that's okay. Listen, guys, thank you, man. It's GM the Life Coach, and I'm out. Peace. GM the Life Coach.